Hare Krishna. One charity that you should do every single day of your life. You see, in our Vedic Jyotish world, charity, which is also known as dan, is very, very important aspect of remedies as well as our daily routine. Now, the question is, when do we do charities? One major reason for doing charities to accumulate good karma. The other reason is when you have the most difficult time of your life. I've seen people doing the charities. The third is when you are really suffering in either, your health or in your business, which is actually the most difficult time. And when you're very happy, it could be, your birthday, or it could be, you've got a new car, new home. So let's call people and, poor people and give them something to eat, especially on birthdays of our children and parents and, you know, and all the family members. These are the time when we do charities. But in this video, I'll tell you a technique of Raj Jyotish, which is coming from Parampara, which is coming from thousands of years, and it has miraculous results. I'm going to tell you a technique through which you can, you know, do this charity every day in some or the other form. And you can always keep the bad time away. It's like, taking care of yourself. It's like precaution is better than cure. It's like those people who get up every day in the morning, 5 o'clock, go for a walk, keep themselves fit, eat healthy, and still, if you die, it's not your fault. At least you'll die with a lot of, proud feeling that whatever I did was right. It was all destined then. But then, if you become the reason of your own death, if you become the reason of your own problems, if you become the reason of your troubles, that is something really, really is shameful, as well as there's a lot of, regret. So this technique of, giving the charity comes as one of the biggest karmas. You see, even our shastras and, various, beautiful granthas and scriptures, they say, they tell to the mother, if you want to give birth to someone, you should either give birth to someone who is a bhagat. Bhagat is who's doing all his sadhanas and he's like a rishi or a muni or a brahmin, or someone who is a giver, who has a lot of charity, danveer, or you should give birth to someone who is very, very brave. Otherwise, the life is not worth it. And that phrase in Gurbani and in various beautiful scriptures is, Hey Data tu Bhagat Jan. Huh? Ya, Hey Data tu Bhagat Jan, Ya Data Ya Shur. Okay, it's not like that. It's like, Hey Janani. Janani is the mother. Hey Janani tu Bhagat Jan, Ya Data Ya Shur. Nahi to Janani baaj rahi ho, kahe gavayo noor. That means, either you should be very, very brave and like a Kshatriya, or you should be like a Bhagat, or you should be a giver. Only then you will have the most beautiful and peaceful life. So this video is to motivate you to become like, who was like Karan, someone who is completely ready to give away things. But living in Kali Yuga, I will tell you this small technique of Jyotish, which will work for everyone. What I'll do is I'm going to share my screen with you, right? And this screen, you see, this is like your chart, right? Suppose. And all you have to do is you have to go to a chart known as D10 chart, which is the Shamsha, which is one of your biggest karmas, right? It is a deep dissection, of your karmic settlements, your work, your, environment, your daily challenges. And it is, a very, very deep analysis of your success. How successful was your life? Both in the terms of name, fame, as well as in terms of work. Now, here you have to identify the Lord of the 12th house. Now, why 12th house? 12th house is investment. And this is the investment of your good karma, right? You're going to invest something to accumulate good karma, and exactly opposite to the 12th house is the 6th house. So, charity here can actually take care of your 6th house, which is everything: enemies, problems, debts, health issues, right? I mean, everything that you don't like is actually the 6th house. So, you have to take the Lord, you know, uh, of the 12th house. So you can take two things here. Either you can take a planet sitting in the 12th house of your D10 chart, or you should take the Lord of, the D10 chart. Now, people will say, oh, I have got planets also. Like in this chart, you see there's no planet sitting. So the primary Lord is Saturn. So we are going to do the charity for Saturn. Saturn is all about helping underprivileged people, helping people who are below the poverty line, people who are handicapped, people who are blind, autistic children. So, people who are like very slow, even old age homes is the best remedy for Saturn. So go there, give them food, medicine, clothes, whatever they want, right? Sit with them, talk to them, try to understand their problems. And this you can do maybe $1, maybe 100 rupees, 50 rupees every day to someone who's very, very old, right? You see a beggar, I mean, whatever is the reason, I'm not promoting that. But if you see him very, very old, you must give something, right? Or maybe you have a watchman who's very old, maybe a security guard who's very old, right? That is when, you do a remedy every day, maybe a glass of juice or a glass of lime water, or maybe, a cup of tea to someone who is, very, very old, handicapped, blind, underprivileged. That's the remedy of Saturn. So suppose there would have been a Mercury here. So then you do two remedies, right? It's like, you do something for the children, something for transgenders every day, also something for, underprivileged people or old people. So, you have to make this combination. One is the planet. Suppose it would have been a Mercury here. So we are doing one remedy for, Mercury every day, or charity for Mercury, and one charity for Saturn. So more number of planets you have in the 12th house, you have bigger karma, and your real purpose out of all the karmas that you do every day is also charity. So, when you have more than two or three planets, your life biggest solution, the happiness of your life lies in the charities, of the planets and the Lord of the 12th house. So, one by one, I'm going to tell you about all the planets. So, suppose you've got Sun as a Lord, or Sun is sitting there, what kind of charities? It's about medicines, it's about education, right? It's about donating jaggery to the cow's shelter. But if you are abroad, what would you do? Go and try to donate some medicines, right? Try to help someone for, education, for learning, right? That's the biggest remedy for Surya. If you have moon, it's food. Try to donate food to poor people, to underprivileged people, to homeless people, you know, that's the remedy for moon. As simple as that. For Mars, you can always donate desi ghee, which is clarified butter, right? Or you can give warm clothes, so like clothes is also Venus, but on the same time, when you are giving warm clothes, right, especially red in color, that is also representing Mars. But Mars is also, donating, uh, the clarified butter or ghee, or trying to help, someone who is a security guard, or trying to feed, people who are in India who are traffic light, constables. Give them some glass of water or food or something. Show generosity towards the defense services, towards army, towards people who are there to give you security. go and do something for them, right? That's the remedy for Mars. You can go to a temple or a gurudwara. You can also donate clarified butter or a ghee, for lighting a lamp in a temple or a gurudwara. Give it to the pandit, give it to the parthi, and that's one of the biggest remedies of Mars. For Mercury, the remedy is helping transgenders, helping small children, helping your sisters, helping your bua. Bua is someone who is your father's sister. So helping these people will really, really help you. And if you want to give something to the children, give sweet and sour or sweet and salty sweets, right? So there's a sweet which is little sweet, sour, and little salty, or biscuits which are like sweet and salty, like 50-50. That kind of biscuits, if you give it to poor people, poor children, or maybe giving some money or clothes to transgenders is a remedy, right? So it's hard to fight transgenders, so then give it to small children. Give those, dual taste things to little children. That's the remedy for Mercury, right? You can also give them pencils to write or something, to write, or maybe notebook or a school bag. Even that you can give to small children, poor children, right? Remedy for Guru, which is Jupiter, is to donate yellow fruits to poor people. Right? Jupiter is also about education. If you can sponsor somebody's education, right, or you can pay for the tuition fees, school fees, or you can pay for the school bus, their conveyance, right? That's what is Jupiter all about, right? Also, Jupiter is also respecting your elders and spending time with your grandparents, listening to them, listening their stories of their life and telling them, motivating them is also the remedy for Jupiter. Taking Guru Nam and then, preaching the mantras of Guru is also the kind of a charity that, you see, you think that, that just going to Guru, taking the name is enough. No, go where Guru lives and, you know, arrange a feast there. Feed everyone. Neem Karoli Babaji used to say, just pray and feed. Right? That's it. So, a guru is a real guru who knows that he has to feed everyone. Right? So we are making a temple here in Ludhiana. And, my biggest aim there is that once it is completed, I would want to feed people every day. So that will be another mission of life that will begin. Although we are feeding, people every day, even now also. So that's Jupiter. For Venus, you have to help people with clothes, poor people. If you give them clothes as much you can. Venus is also the large is that you cover yourself. Also, if you can help poor girls in their marriage, if you give them on marriage something, clothes, jewelry, makeup things, that is, something a very, very powerful remedy of Venus, which is a charity actually. Right? For Saturn, underprivileged people, give them food, medicines, right? That's for the Saturn. Now, people will say, oh God, I have Rahu and Ketu. What can I do for Rahu and Ketu? So, for Rahu, you can do the remedies of Saturn, and for Ketu, you can do the remedies of Mars, right? Also, for Rahu, if you have someone who is really suffering from chronic disease, you can help him with cure, with the treatment of that particular disease. That's also one of the remedies for Rahu. For Ketu, you can also feed dogs. You can have a dog at home. If you have, Ketu in the 12th house of your D10, have a dog at home, right? And feed him with your own hands. And that's when you'll see the prosperity. That's when you'll see, everything falling in place. That's one remedy that you can do every single day of your life. So I hope you like this video. Do apply this in your life. Give me the feedback in 6 months. See how things change around, right? And see how name, fame, prosperity, health, even in the worst of the worst dashas, you will internally start feeling very, very strong, right? To fight with those circumstances. That's the meaning of charity and remedies, Jyotisha. I'll come back again. Till then, Hare Krishna, Har Har Mahadev, Shambho.